Shalom, I am going to help you with Arithmetic 4 through 8, week 31, day 1, and we're also going to just real quickly cover day 3 as well. We're talking about area today, and it can be really confusing when you look at the teacher's guide and it tells you all about how to figure with formulas, plug in numbers into formulas with length and width and all these squares, and it's just complicated, but I'm going to try to show you some ways to do it that are not very difficult at all. So when I talk to my own children, here's what I tell them. Perimeter, which you did last week, I think it is, in week 30, perimeter is measuring around something. So perimeter is measuring a fence around a farm. All right, so there's some grass, and you're having to measure how far do you have to build that fence. And you measure, and let's say the farmyard is shaped like this, and you want to put fence around it. Okay, I'm looking from the top, looking down on the farm, and here's got some cows and sheep and stuff, and here's a tree, and anyway, here's the farmyard, and I have to put fence around this way, the length and the width. Okay, I guess maybe that's the width and that's the length. Okay, so we're going to measure around this way, this way, this way, and this way. So to do perimeter, you had to figure out 2 times the width. I put a W for width, and I put 2 times that. Or if you want to, you could write it like this. 2 times the width, and we'll put that in parentheses, plus 2 times the length. Okay? And that's what perimeter is. And we would figure out what that is. And you did that last time. Now, area is very similar, but instead of doing a farm, now you're going to do carpet. Okay, and I think inside our teacher's manual we talk about grass in the farmyard, but I think it's a little easier for me to figure out carpet. And you might even want to take your student to a home store such as Home Depot or Menards or Lowe's or whatever you have in your area, a hardware store of some kind, somewhere where they sell carpet. And let's say that you have a living room, and I'm going to draw a floor plan here. Okay, this is the living room, and let's say you have a door over here, and you can come into the living room, and you have a couch and some chairs and a little table in the middle. This is your living room, okay? But let's say you want to carpet that entire area. If you were to go to Home Depot, they would say maybe, I don't know what the price is right now, so this may be really putting our video out, but let's say it was $2.50 for a square foot of carpet. What that means is that 1 square foot, a foot that's a square by a square by a square by a square, it's just a square of carpet, costs $2.50. So in order to figure out what the entire room of carpet's going to cost to carpet, let me take the furniture out. Okay, we're going to have to figure out how many squares of carpet there are in this room, and you have to figure rows of it. Okay, so now this is one way of doing it, but there's a better way, a lot easier way. So I probably shouldn't have erased that. Let's say that this room is 10 feet wide and 8 feet this direction, okay? So that means you would have 10 squares across, I'm not going to draw it, and 8 squares this way. And you could figure out that there would be, what's 10 times 8? 10 times 8 is 80. You have 80 squares of carpet needed. So you could multiply $2.50 times 80 and figure out how much money it would cost you to carpet your room, okay? So that's why it's really valuable to know. So area is carpet, I tell my kids, and perimeter is fencing. So area meaning all of the squares that are in the living room. Perimeter, the word peri means around, and meter means measure. So you measure around the room. So that's where they get the words. So perimeter and area are very similar. Let's pretend that we're going to just use this 10 foot by 8 foot and show you with the formulas how to do it. So for perimeter, let's pretend that you wouldn't want a fence around, but let's say you put some wood molding around the corners or the edges of your room down at the carpet level to keep the carpet stuck nice and neatly to the wall. So let's say you needed to have the perimeter to find out how much molding to buy. So you would do 2 times 10, right? Because this wall and this wall are 10 feet, plus 2 times 8. Because this wall and this wall are 8 feet. So for perimeter, you would figure that out. You would solve the parentheses first. So 20 plus 16. So you would need 36 feet of molding. But for area, it's going to be entirely different. Let's erase this. This time it's actually easier, except it's multiplying. Some people, it depends if you like multiplying or not. You're going to take the length times the width. Okay, I just put an L for length and W for width. So plug those numbers in. 10 feet is the length. It doesn't much matter. You could put 8 there and it doesn't matter. Okay, whichever one you think is the long one. And 8. What is 10 times 8? 80. And the answer, this is important. It's not just 80 feet, it's 80 square, SQ, feet. Okay? And later in this week, you're going to write it like this. 80 feet with a little 2 next to it. You see that 2 right there? That 2 is an exponent. We're going to be starting exponents this week, and they're not so bad. So let's hop over to day 3. For day 3, you're going to figure the carpet of a room that is square. Let's see if I can draw a square here. I'm not going to be very, very perfect about it. Does that look like a square? And in this room, every wall is the exact same. It's a perfect square. That's what a square is. A square is when every single side is the same length. So instead of doing length times width, this is our normal formula, length times width, we're just going to say area is, I'm going to put an S for side, and then we're going to put that exponent. What does that mean? That just means to multiply the side times itself. Whatever it is, side times itself. So in our thing here, it's going to be each side is 8 feet. Oh, it's 8 squared. Another way of saying that is 8 times 8. So the answer would be 64 square feet. Okay? Let me know if you have any problems with this. Figuring out what exponents is easier when you go to carpet, and I do encourage you to take a field trip. Go find out what the price of carpet is and maybe measure a couple rooms in your house and imagine what it would cost to buy carpet. Okay? And that'll be a great way to practice your area. While you're at Home Depot, you could even find out what the price of fencing is and maybe figure out how much it would cost to fence in an area of your yard. And I guarantee you, you will remember these concepts for a very long time. Shalom.